Commissioner Goins to lead us in our pledge.
Attention, salute, pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I want to remind the commissioners to please turn your mics on, and let's do the roll call at this time, please. We do have, we do have a quorum present. Is there any way you can reduce that screen on our monitors, please, so we can see the whole thing at one time? If you can, that's okay.
Mr. Chairman, since this is our record, we could change Mr. Ward's.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we need to change Mr. Ward's. He's not present. We need to clear it, and we can redo it. Oh, you got it there. Okay. Screen just use our totals. I don't know them all. That's okay. You have the totals for your record.
13 present, 1 absent.
Okay, we're open for business, and this time the chair will recognize Chairman Jim Stepp of the Calendar and Rules Committee.
Item 2A, approval of consent calendar items. Put that in form of motion.
Give us a minute to change screen.
Motion yet?
Yeah, we have a motion. We need a second. Let's change the screen first.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Jim Stepp,
Okay.
Chairman of the committee.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
We
Do we have a second?
have a second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, is there any discussion? If not, then let's go to the motion, please. Line 3, are you online? Are you voting? Okay. His is not showing.
No, his is not showing.
Mike, yours is not showing either. Push it again and let's hit it.
It says you voted yes.
Yes.
You can change your vote.
Change your vote.
Change it?
Okay, just a minute. She's.
Okay.
Oh, I got it. I got it.
Item 1, 13 yea, 0 nay.
Motion is approved.
Item 2B, approve the regular calendar items. I put that in form of motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
We have a
We
second.
have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please. Mr. Neesmith.
Item 2A, 13 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, the motion is approved.
That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. The chairman at this time would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar. We have a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thomas Doty moves. Is there a second? Okay, you got a second.
Yes.
Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Item 2B, 13 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, the motion is approved. You have before you the names of 2 individuals who are being recommended for another terms to the Hamlin County Agriculture Committee, Rodney Cobble and Donna Morse. And this will be done off the board. So do we have a motion to approve those recommendations?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Chris Cutshaw has moved, and Randy DeBoard has seconded the motion. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. At this time, we will have public comments on agenda items only, and we've had one request to speak for 5 minutes on agenda items, and Edna Green, you're recognized at this time.
My name is Edna Green. I live at 4981 Cameron Road, Morristown. My concern is on the authorization to bid for the Justice Center. I sent each and every one of you an email regarding asking you to consider looking at other alternatives due to the massive tax increase that the citizens of Hamlin County are going to get. It's not just the young children, the young people that are going to get this. It's going to be the elderly that are retired and living on a fixed income. Now, some of you were kind enough to respond to me, thank you. Some of you didn't bother. Courtesy is courtesy and respect is respect. But especially Mr. Cutshaw responded, Mr. Shipley, Mr. Neesmith, and Mr. Akron, and I do appreciate that. But as representatives of county government, you should have the courtesy to respond. If nothing else, put received and let me know that you got it. That's business courtesy, folks. But again, you need to step back and take a look. When it was brought before you to do a 120-day moratorium and look at things, you refused to do so. I don't understand your reasoning, sirs and ma'am. I just don't understand it at all. For the backgrounds that some of you have, I just don't understand it. You know, in years past and now, Mr. Doe Jarvis sat on this commission for several years. The gentleman was a financial genius. He looked at everything going, coming, what was going to fall off in debt, and what the Chins proposed to come with. You should take a lesson from the man. But you need to step back and look. I don't know how you feel about it, but when it comes election time again, I will surely consider how you folks have voted and whether or not you step back and listen to the citizens or if you just ignored their pleas. You know, it's like we're sinking in a ship and you just won't even throw us a rope. You just come out and slap us on the head. Go on down, we don't need you. All we want you money. Please, take time and think about it. Some of you are my age. Some of you are quite a bit younger and you still work. You need to think, please. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are you? Oh, okay. All right. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission on items on the agenda? You have 3 minutes to do so.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Brotherton, 339 Macedonia Road. There are 2 items on the agenda I want to speak to you about today. The first is the bid for the jail. Now, one of the things that I've asked before, and I'm not going to answer to, well, I have the answer for you. The difference in the cost of staffing, to my knowledge, has not been included in any of your proposals. Well, I ran the numbers for you. According to the Hampton County Sheriff's Office Facebook page post, the salary after probationary periods for day shift jailers is $29,440.32. Now, with the potential one-level jail times the 80 jailers that it would take, according to the sheriff, to fully staff that jail, that's $2,355,225.60. Now, for 150, according to the sheriff, that number doubles. $4,416,048. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that that's going to be a recurring expense, and you all know that they're already understaffed. Where are you going to get these people? You're going to have to increase the pay rate for this position. Law of supply and demand. We already know this. Those of you with an education background, I'm sure you know this. But why have you not considered this? Why have you not presented this information to the public? Why have you not put it in the proposals? Where is your budget money for this? Is there going to be another tax increase if you go ahead and bid on this jail? Like, the people deserve to know what your plan is to fund this budget, given that you want to put up for bid this 4-story jail that under current conditions will not be staffed. Does any of you want to go down there and work with these fine gentlemen and fine women that work in this jail? Do you believe in your votes enough to say that you'll even go down there for 2 hours? Don't even have to be a whole shift, 2 hours. Would you do it? Would you stand behind what you're saying and do that? Would you give them the appropriate raises to be able to hire full staff, and how are you going to pay for that? We haven't been given this information at all. It's not in the proposals, and quite frankly, I believe you all already know this. So are you going to later on say, oh, now we need to have an increase in the sheriff's office budget, here's another tax increase? Vote no on this bid. Everybody knows that it is a bad idea because it's not sensible and it's not fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission? See no one else there?
No, Mr. Shipley.
Oh, okay.
My name is Linda Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. Hamlin County needs a new jail, but we do not need a $75 million multi-story jail with an elaborate new justice center. We can solve our problems with a basic one-level jail with a renovated justice center at a cost of about $45 million. And that's based on Coffee County and factoring in inflation and a contingency and then, other items to that. Of course, some of you didn't go to Coffee County. Some of you have probably never even looked at the plans for Coffee County. I do remember an article in the newspaper that appeared after the visit to Coffee County, and I believe Mr. DeBoard said it looked very promising or interesting. And from what the paper said, the mayor's reply was, the devil is in the details. Well, we never got the details about Coffee County. The devil is in the details of this mega jail, Taj Mahal. And now that you're talking about the bidding, and that's what I want to get to. Our plan's complete for the Jail Justice Center. You can Don't sit there and ignore it. Are specifications complete? What bidding alternates are under consideration? Has a decision been made on any alternates or possible alternates, particularly as to the third floor? Will commission get to see the plans before bids are taken, before it's actually put out to bid? And was there a newspaper advertisement for contractor pre-qualifications? I've heard Mr. Pettit say that he and Mosley contacted people that they knew might be qualified and asked them to submit. But did you put out a general advertisement so people who perhaps didn't get a call from Mosley or Burwell could actually submit a pre-qualification application? I want to quote from Sheriff Jarnigan: the one-level jail design with a command station in the center could work with 70 to 80 employees. A one-level jail would save taxpayers millions of dollars, safer and cheaper. Now, I know there's been a lot of just poo-pooing the sheriff, but he's right on a lot of things on this. It would be cheaper to staff. It would be cheaper to build. And most importantly, perhaps, it would be safer. I hope you are watching the safeness of this as much as you should be watching the money and the other aspects. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission?
Kimberly Coffey, 8220 East AJ Highway. I work at the jail, and these are our concerns. In the event of a fire, can you all tell us how, or expect us how to get everyone out safely? Elevators won't be of any use to us. So how are we supposed to evacuate from the top floor down? How? Also, and most time we can, there's some officers, some inmates rather, that we can't let out at the same time as other inmates. Fire or no fire, they're not going to care. This is going to be their perfect point to do whatever damage they need to do to someone or to an officer. They're not going to care. And also in the event if they flood the fourth floor, where do you think that water's going to go? It's going to come down. Then you're going to have mold all over again. It's going to get into the electrical opponents and all of that stuff. And I mean, and I know y'all think, oh, well, you're the only one that's over here saying anything. Well, what y'all don't understand is most of the folks are on a 12-hour shift. And those that are off are usually working a second job to make ends meet. I've invited y'all, come work a 12-hour shift with me. Work days or nights. I ain't seen none of you show up yet. But y'all want to say, oh, this is what we need. No, y'all need to talk to the people who do this job every day. Not the ones in the office who come and go as they choose. They don't do it. They don't have to deal with it. They don't have to do it. So come on down. Walk a mile in our shoes. Not for a couple of hours. Couple of hours, you're not going to see anything. You need to come. Really put your shoulder into it. See what we do. Because, I mean, I honestly don't know where y'all think you're going to get the employees for a new jail. We can't even keep the 54 we need now. We've even dropped the age to 18. 18 working in the jail. I'm not saying that they're not capable. I'm not saying that at all. But I just don't think they've had the life experiences that older jailers have had. Or older people have had. So come on down, work with me. I'll show you around. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission?
My name is Tony. I live on East Louise Avenue. The lady that listened to just spoke. The two people that have voiced their opinions, that have firsthand knowledge of it have both told you what a horrible idea it is, the disadvantages, the negative impact that it could have. Last week, we had a presentation by a gentleman in regards to it. He mentioned 2 jails that had been built previously. One in North Carolina, one in South Carolina. Have any of you looked up those? Probably not. Charleston, South Carolina, 802,000 residents. 30 people a day move there. We don't have that growth. These places are on the water. They have residents, they have visitors, they have people that need to be incarcerated on different levels to keep them separated. We don't need that. That jail is not for us. I also want to speak about the layout of these meetings. They need to be revised. Last week when he had the presentation, I had questions. Other people had questions. They could have been answered that evening. But we can't speak after the fact. We can't listen to other people's conversation and address the committee or address the contractors. That's what they're here for. Now we have to maybe postpone it, get some questions answered. It shouldn't be that way. All of you, I'm sure, probably had some form of question. You should have had a question, but you all sat there in silence. I plan on standing here and remaining in silence for the remaining of my 3 minutes, just so I wouldn't waste my breath speaking to the commissioners, the ones that we voted, that act like the people don't matter, like you don't hear us, and like you don't have a backbone to put pressure on your fellow committee or your mayor. The reason I decided to continue through my remaining time and voice my opinion is that I had asked my son, 13 years of age, 8th grade, real bright student, if anybody's going to make a difference, he'll be one of those kids in the future that does. I asked him if he wanted to speak. He surprised me with his response, caught me off guard. He said, no. I see them in the videos. They don't listen. We've got recordings of commissioners sleeping, nodding out, not even paying attention to what's being said. He saw this. He doesn't want to come here and speak. He said, they don't listen. I'm going to just sit here, I'm going to play video games. That's the generation right there. That's your generation that's going to fulfill those spots in that jail. He's sitting there playing video games. One of the brightest kids in Hamlin freaking County. Playing video games. Doesn't even want to come here because he knows all of you don't listen.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on with our agenda. Chairman Randy DeVore of the Finance Committee, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 6A, approval of the monthly checks. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Hold on just a minute. Have you got table board taken care of? What does he need to do? You need to hit your present button, Taylor. And then we'll have you on board. Thank you very much. Sorry to bother you. I just want to make sure he's on board with us. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Item 6A, 14 yea, 0 nay.
The motion is approved.
Item 6B, number 1, Fund 116, Garbage and Sanitation Department for $15,000. That is for 300 additional garbage carts, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Item 6B1, 14 yea, 0 nay.
The motion is approved.
Item 6B2, Fund 131, Highway Department for $42,815. This is for resurfacing a Mountain Valley Road, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please. Mr. Ward. Taylor, we need you to vote. Thank you.
Item 6B2, 14 yea, 0 nay.
The motion is approved.
Item 6B3, Fund 131, Highway Department for $42,000. That's for a second hot box for paving crew, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Item 6B3, 14 yea, 0 nay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Board. This time the Chair will recognize Chairman Tim Goins of the Public Service Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. 7A, Resolution 2040, a resolution to support a drug dealer liability act lawsuit. I put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, we have a motion, and we have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, then let's vote the motion.
Item 7A, 14 yea, 0 nay.
Okay, the motion is approved.
7B, approval of the 2020 Hamilton County road list. Put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, then let's vote the motion, please.
Where's the script?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Neesmith. You're recognized.
Got a motion, got a second. I can't vote on this because I live on a road that's not on this list that y'all are gonna vote for. And if this was anybody's road, any other commissioner's road, you wouldn't vote on it either. This is the third year in a row I've had to do this. I voted no because it's not on the list. My road is not on our list.
Where's Barry? I saw him come through. Barry, I know you had a conversation with Mr. Neesmith. Did you take care of that?
West Scottsdale's not on the list.
He's on Old Croxdale, aren't you?
Yeah, it's on the old Croxdale.
Tax assessor says that your address is West Scottsdale.
Well, can I speak?
Yes.
When you look at your road list says it comes off of 25 South Compton and goes over to 160. It don't go to 160, it goes from 25 to 25. But about 600 feet up from the new 25, David Crockett Parkway, the road forked. It forked 40-something years ago. There's not a house on West Croxdale. All the houses are up on, I thought it was West Croxdale. I thought it was Old Croxdale. Part of that road that I live on is in the city, and they call it North Croxdale. So we've got a problem. We've got
They've got a
more
sign.
old and a west.
They've got a sign up that says West Croxdale.
That's on the road behind me. There's not a road on the road that I live on. There's not a sign on the road.
Your address is West Croxdale, right?
My address is 445 West Croxdale Road.
And West Croxdale's on the list, isn't it?
West Croxdale is.
Okay. Then your road is on the road list.
No. The way your road runs there, it comes off of old 25 down there at Wayne List Junkyard, and you say, your paperwork, I give it to you, it goes to 160. That road don't go to 160.
The part that goes over to 160 has got two properties on
That's
two
East
parcels.
Croxdale.
Two parcels. We could name it North Croxdale if you want to, and the assessor would have to change the address, but that would be an alternative. But your address is West Croxdale, and we could change the other road if you want to.
Mine's West Croxdale, and let me just tell you how many houses you got up there. You saw how many there are. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses on that road.
And they're all addressed West Croxdale.
So you got 2 roads up there, both of them West Croxdale?
We can change the other one to North Croxdale if you want to.
Can you change it to Neesmith Road?
That's our conversation we had before this last committee meeting. I asked him what he wanted to name it, and he told me to drop it.
No, I didn't do that.
Well, that's-
You're gonna say it, stand there and say it, but why would I drop a road that I've been working with for 3 years so I can try to get the hose patched in it? Why
Well-
would I drop it?
My hearing is good. I heard you say it to my face. You
Okay.
standing in front of me when you said it.
They said you don't call a person a liar, but yes, I have.
I'm making a proposal. You wanna call the part with no houses on it North Croxdale?
You better check it with the city.
No, the city don't have jurisdiction here. The county road department's got jurisdiction. It's county road.
Well, what about the lower end that's in the city?
The,
Part
down
of
there
it
at
is-
25, down there
They
at
city
25,
taxes on it.
down there at 25, or the 160 side?
It's not on 160, that's East Croxdale, that's not even West Croxdale.
There's part of the road that connects to 160.
That's East Croxdale.
No, it's not.
You got
West
Highway
Croxdale.
25 runs through it.
The road goes from the old 25 over to 160, both the one you live on and the one that don't have any houses on.
Let's proceed with the business before us, and you two work this out among yourself, okay? And then let us know what you worked out.
I can't say we want to change the road, that's not my responsibility to change the road. This GPS, what happens when you get an ambulance come up there? They're down on West Croxdale looking around. There's not a road sign on the one I live on. They've come up there and looked and looked and looked, didn't know where they were going. This GPS takes you right to the front door. This can't take you to the front door.
GPS doesn't have jurisdiction over county road.
Well, it's got it over the.
If they do, they need to send us a lot of money.
It's got it over the rescue squad. The rescue squad's got it over what it says.
Okay. Any more discussion? Let's vote the motion then.
Item 70, 12 yea, 2 nay.
The motion is approved.
That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Goins. At this time, the chair will recognize Chairman Tim Harder of the Justice Center Jail Project Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 8A, authorization to accept bids for Justice Center project using the pre-qualified contractor method. I'll put that in form of a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Mr. Neesmith, you're
All right.
recognized.
Should I address Mr. Horner or you address you?
You can address me.
Well, I want to know if we have finished plans, architectural plans on this.
I assume that we do. We do, don't we? Yes, we have finished plans.
Well, we haven't seen them.
No, they went over them with us, but we haven't seen those detailed plans. You're correct.
We haven't seen them, so.
Okay. Commissioner Cutshaw.
Yes, Chairman, I was wondering if we could ask Tony to come up and answer a question or two real quick.
Okay.
And Mosley's not here, but maybe Tony could help us.
I wasn't finished, I have another.
Well, we'll come back to
You're
you.
gonna bring me lights again, huh?
Yeah. No.
Thank you, Tony. I'm just curious if you could address a couple of things of concern, one being the fire. What is, I know you're not the architect, you're the project manager, obviously you've got some really good insight to what's going on. What do we do in case of a fire? How's your...
Well, the plans, and there was a statement here about, are the plans complete? Plans are being finessed because we've got it to the state fire marshal's office. They're reviewing the plans, and they will make comments to those plans. But the egress out of the detention area would be through the stairs, and they're fire rated, and they go to the outside.
Fire rated stairwells.
Right.
Fire rated stairwells, okay. And so that explains how the evacuation takes
That's
place.
right.
When the elevators are shut.
The elevators are shut down during fire.
And could you go over again the flood control that we have in
Yeah,
place?
they have drains at areas that where if something's flooded, we specifically talked about that, maybe in this last meeting that we had the presentation, that if they do have a flood or they stop something up like a commode or something like that, that's going to overflow into a drain.
Okay, also, in the flood control, there was this water monitoring system where if a certain block was using excessive amount of water, you can shut it sends an alarm and you can shut the water off to prevent floods. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm just making sure of these concerns there.
Right, sure.
While Holly's at the podium, do any of the other commissioners have any questions you want to ask him? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
We'll go back to Wayne.
Okay, so we've got the plans, right? We've got the plans. We've got the plans to send them out to the 4 people that's bidding on it. 5 people, 4 people, I think, bidding on it. They'll be getting plans to bid on it.
Will there be?
Bell Associates, Blaine, Branch Building, and WC English. Those 4 companies will be getting the drawings.
Correct.
Will anybody else have an opportunity to bid on it?
We gave the opportunity when they pre-qualified.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
So they've got that. Are these bids gonna, is there an alternative, like if you're building a 3rd story, a 3-story jail, and you see that you're not gonna have money, that you wanna just make the top floor a shell, will they be bidding on that bill?
That's one of the options, yes.
They had been presented, I didn't know.
And we always, when the bids come back, we have the option of accepting those bids or rejecting those bids. And if it comes back at a price that we don't think we can afford, we can take the scissors to the project.
I understand that, but along while they're bidding, will we be asking them to bid on this for a complete jail, or partial complete jail, or partial complete with a shell that you can finish later? Will they be bidding on those different items?
You may come back up to the podium and I answer from here.
You can answer from there, as
Okay.
long as we can hear.
So, Mr. Commissioner, we are going to take, if you approve, we'll put these drawings back out for bid to those 4 qualified contractors. They will bid the job. The job will be set up with add alternates, because that's the most economical way of doing it rather than taking a deductive alternate. There'll be add alternates. Each of these alternates, though, will allow a full functional jail where you don't take any alternates or you take all the alternates.
Commissioner Doty, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've just got one question about the actual qualified contractors and such. Where was that advertised to solicit these contractors for pre-qualification?
I'm not sure where it was. Usually we do it in the Tribune or the News Sentinel or the Builders Exchange, or all of them.
It was posted on the Hamilton County website.
And on
Yeah. No, Mosley also has those.
Mosley. And then there were individual contacts made by, how many folks did there?
I contacted about 15.
And Mosley did about the same.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing no more? Yes, sir, Mr. Ward.
If all this information comes back and we decide it's too high, what is our next step?
It's up to the commission, but we can take scissors, like we can reject it, take scissors to the project, cut it down, or I can't speak for the whole commission, but I don't know what.
If we want to go back to square one, new location, whatever.
I did, Anybody else? Let's vote the motion, please.
Item 8A, 11 yea, 3 nay.
Okay, the motion is approved.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Horner. At this time, we'll receive comments, general comments from the public, and we do have one request for 5 minutes. Elizabeth Brotherton, you're recognized.
Thank you. There are several things that I would like to address. The first thing that needs to be addressed is we have a violation of parliamentary procedure that I've noticed, Mr. Chairman. When Mr. Neesmith had the floor, he has to cede the floor before anyone else can be recognized, just for future reference. I haven't heard any commissioners indicate whether or not they would like to take further training on parliamentary procedure or any of the actions that the gentleman at the committee meeting previously had suggested. It would be nice to hear some of the reactions that the commission has, specifically with training for parliamentary procedure, because I've been up here several times pointing out, what's been done wrong. Another thing that I would really like to address is that we have a lot of commissioners who aren't responding to emails. From my perspective, I would like to know where my representation is if my commissioner won't answer my emails. Like, I can't get, okay, I saw it, thank you, received, I can't get anything. Like, where is the representation form of government here? You have voted for a bid to go out when, like, the finesse, as mentioned, isn't even done. Like, fire marshal hasn't even taken care of that. Like, do you really know what the bid's going to be on? Because what happens if the fire marshal takes a red ink pen to it? It's like, nope, nope, nope. What happens then? So, are you going to have to rescind that bid and then go right back to the drawing board to plan A, B, C, D, or E? As I just mentioned, no one has taken the jailers up on the offer of working with them. If you feel so strongly, why don't you do it? Surely you believe that your plan's safe. And further, why are we bidding on things that when questions are asked, it's either, oh, we're not sure. I've been noticing a lot of long pauses between questions. And once again, where is your budget for the staff? I've already got up here and mentioned the difference that it's going to cost. Now, as I'm sure all of you are well aware, the city council just spent over $300,000 in taxpayer money on a research study about salary increases. I do not want to see this body make the same mistake, because it's inevitable that you're going to have to give a raise for that position to attract that many applicants. A nice, fancy building is not going to do the trick, because that is a very, very difficult job. Why are we sitting here without a departmental proposed budget for the proposed jail? Have you considered how much the insurance costs are going to increase for 150 people versus the 80 that it was quoted for the alternative? What about the training costs? What about the equipment? What about all the different aspects that should be computed down to the last cent? The public wants to know. And I mean, I'm up here to show you the public is smart enough to understand those numbers. It was mentioned that the public doesn't really understand that the electrical work and whatnot is part of the overall cost of the jail. We most certainly do, ladies and gentlemen. We understand that budgets are very, very important. But no matter how many times we ask, how many times we reach out, there are no projections, there are no solid numbers for the increase in personnel. Are we looking at another tax increase? Where in the county budget is this money coming from to support that much personnel, especially that much of an increase? That's a lot of people. That's going to be a lot of training since the turnover rate's already pretty high. I mean, it's a very demanding position. Where and when will we be able to find this information, and who is going to draw this information up? I mean, I've already drawn up a lot of it myself and got up here and told you the very simplest numbers. But so far, the body has not presented that information to the public. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission? You have 3 minutes.
Again, my name's Edna Green. I live at 49 Eastwood Cameron Road. Let me congratulate this young lady, what she presented to you. The lady that works with the Hamlin County Jail. Thank you for coming. She has went over concerns that we've had and we couldn't get any reaction. Thank you for asking some of the questions, Mr. Cutshot. Now, 2 things. You definitely have not considered the staffing. If they can't get anything but 19-year-olds now and 18-year-olds, what's it going to be then? That's the first thing. I have one question that I'm going to leave with you folks tonight, because this is general comments and it can cover anything. On December 7th, Mayor Britton was asked of whether or not he had hired a county attorney to take care of the county stuff. And my lawsuit with Mr. Capps sitting over there, your Hamlin County attorney. And this lawsuit was filed in 2018 for some of you that were not here. Some of you were. And it was filed in regard to double dipping or double billing, ever how you want to look at it. And it relates back to the Private Act. My question to you folks is, the executive meeting you had, being that I'm not suing you, Hamlin County per se, just Mr. Capps, was it discussed during that meeting? You might as well get ready. If I can do it, I'll have my attorney subpoena you folks and you can tell us the truth one way or the other. But you just need to wake up. You're letting Hamlin County taxpayer money go down the road in a little boat just as fast as you can push it. And it's not acceptable. You're letting your officers that work the jail be in danger of getting hurt because they're understaffed. And according to the Tennessee inspection, they don't have the procedures in place. And in my mind, that boils down to training. I worked 20 years in a plant and we were trained. And anybody in here that has worked in a plant ought to know it. Now, for you folks that think you know more than our sheriff does, and evidently there's some of you need to take her up on her offer. Go down and work 2 hours with her. I think she can hold her own, and I'd love to see at least some of you men try it. Thank you.
Anyone else wishes to address the commission?
My name's Tony, live on East Louise Avenue. You know, my son was right. I sat back, very next sentence, boom, forget about everything that was conversated over here, everything that was said. It has nothing to do with the safety. It's all about the money. Well, we'll scratch if we can't afford it. No. How's it going to work out? What's safe? What's not safe? His thing was, oh, you know, we can turn off the water if they flood the 3rd floor or the 2nd floor. Well, great. How many days, how many weeks, how many months do you keep the water off before it becomes a lawsuit? You can't just turn the water off and leave the water off because half the people want to be monkeys. It doesn't work that way. Not only do you have criminals that are housed in jails, you have honest people who never committed a crime in their life, happen to be in a wrong place, wrong time, and they're there. You got to take care of those people, just like you got to take care of the criminals. Yeah, sometimes they deserve what they get, but it's not just one thing. If a fire happens, how's the fire department going to get up to the 3rd floor, put this fire out? They're not going to be able to shoot it from outside like a normal building. And then all the water, where's all that water go? Now you have a whole jail you can't even use. You've got 600 inmates out in a parking lot with employees that can't control them when they're locked up. What do you guys do? At least a single floor, you can move guys around a little bit more, have more means. But once you destroy the building, these are criminals. That's what they do. They got 24 hours a day to screw stuff up. That's what they do. Pick here, do that there. We have to figure out all the means, all the situations. You can't go and buy the parts to fix something before you know what parts you need. Then once you figure it out, if you don't have the tools and the knowledge, who cares that you can afford the parts? You got to be able to do the whole process. We're not at that point. Hamilton County isn't ready to do that whole entire process. Let's sit back. I got everybody's attention. Finally, this is the first time. Everybody's actually looking at me. It's amazing. So, got this on film? Think about it. Just, honestly, it's not about what other people want or what we're going to do or what we can do or make Hamilton County look better. The people can't afford to live here. The people that do move here, the ones I talk to, they move here because housing is cheap. They can move here and buy a house and not year after year get sucked into taxes. That's why people move here. Don't ruin the reason people actually come to Hamilton County. Let's get the parts, let's get the tools, let's get the knowledge, let's do a little research, our homework, and make something that we could actually use. Not build something that may just be a shelf for years, and then in 15 years, oh, we need it. Well, we got to renovate it again. It doesn't work that way.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else who wishes to address the commission?
Wiley Lampion, 2111 Thomas Drive. I just want to address one issue, one problem, inevitable problem that you're going to have with this new jail. The gentleman back here told me, he talked about the flooding, how they control the flooding with safeguards and drainage and all that. That's good. Got to talk about what causes the flooding. Inmates are smart, a lot of them. A lot of them are smarter than people, some people in this room. And they don't like the money they get one day, so what they do is say, we're going to stop up every toilet in this jail. And they can do it. They do it. I'm talking from experience, not hearsay. So they go about stopping them up. That's what causes the flooding to start with. So we'll shut off the water. Still got blockage in the sewage. So you got to call a plumber. He might be 2-3 hours away. Meanwhile, you got 600 inmates up there that have to go to the bathroom. Where do you think they're going to go? So now you got a sewage problem, maybe a flooding problem, but now you got a sanitation problem on top of that. You just expose everybody in the jail to every disease known to mankind. Gonna be a lot of sick folks. Jailers, inmates, don't make no difference. Who's gonna pay the bill? You are. Think about that. That's just one problem, one day. We got 364 more to go. A lot of problems. A lot of things to think about. You can reconsider what you're doing. On a one-level jail, that'd be a bad problem. On a 3- or 4-story jail, it's exponential, multiplied. You gotta start on the top floor, work your way down to find where the blockage is. Might take 4 or 5 hours to do that. Then you gotta figure out how you're gonna stop it. So we just open up, clean out, pull it out. No, you won't. You got 200 gallons, not just water, species, urine, vomit, blood, whatever's in there, it's coming out. Now you got the whole jail contaminated. What are you gonna do? Think about stuff like that? It happens. It's gonna happen. You don't believe me, you can ask Esco Journey. He's been through it more times than one. So if you can't get the blockage out, what do you have to do? You got to cut the pipe, right? Some guys got to cut the pipe. Sometimes that guy was me. Went in Walmart and asked me if I want a mask. Done been exposed to all that stuff. It's crazy. That's what you're doing, what you're going to do to people. So you need to look at that. The 4-story jail, it's going to be a lot more problems. 600 inmates as opposed to 200 right now. triple the number of inmates, you're triple the number of problems you got.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Linda Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. Thank you, Mr. Doty, for asking about how the pre-qualification advertisements went out. I'm not sure I heard a clear answer on that, but I appreciate you asking. I do think that there should have been some type of public advertisement rather than a few people make some calls to people they know and invite them to submit a pre-qualification. And I want to discuss the fact that I keep hearing, oh, it's the prior commission that caused all this. They kept kicking the can down the road. The one can they kicked down the road was county debt. And that's why you were not forced to raise taxes to construct, other than the 3 cents, to construct the jail. You will be left with the taxes to staff the jail. And some hard questions have been asked here. Nobody's really addressed what's going to happen once it's built and you have to staff it. And we all know what's going to happen. Taxes are going to be raised and you'll claim, oh, well, we have to do that. If you build this monstrosity, you will have to do that. There's plenty of blame to go around on this, but this commission took office in September 2018 and was in control from that point on with a clean slate as to how to proceed. It was this commission that made the decision to stay over there at that site. A prior commission had suggested that and had voted for that, but you had the choice to change it and you didn't. I'm not saying whether that's good or bad, but you made that decision. You made the decision to refuse to call for a referendum to let the people vote on the massive debt for this jail justice center. You, this commission, refused to allow 120 days to just look and compare a one-level versus a multi-level. This commission voted to proceed with the current multi-story design with its fancy justice center. And this commission, not a prior commission, has refused to consider basic and less costly one-level jail designs based on the Coffee County model. This commission, not a prior commission, will be responsible for the massive tax increase for staffing the multi-story jail, if it can be staffed. And this commission will be responsible for injuries to inmates and staff due to the obvious safety problems with a multi-story design. Yes, you've spent a lot of time, or you say you have, researching this. You've spent a lot of time listening to people feed you stories and figures, and then you've rubber-stamped everything. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the commission?
Karen Norwood, 1501 Ella Road. All I can say is, just through observations and everything, that I can only come to the conclusion that for whatever reason that each and every one of you wanted to be a county commissioner, if it's for, oh boy, I'm a county commissioner on somebody important, it takes some work. It's not sitting here twice a month voting yes on everything. It takes a lot more than that. Research. This is the, from what I can gather that I'm aware of, the first big, huge, important project that you have been responsible for. You need to do the research instead of being spoon-fed by the mayor. You haven't even done enough research up until recently to even ask appropriate questions. If you don't know the questions to ask, then I think you should have voted to give 120 days until you did know the questions to ask. I can sit back here during the meetings having to bite my tongue because I'm automatically sitting and thinking every meeting I come to, a question sitting there going, can 14 people, one of you come up with a question? Granted, not bragging, I have an IQ of over 130. Between 14 people, somebody could come up with some questions. I hate having to sit here and bite my tongue because I can't speak up. And I can't speak up afterwards, like I am right now, because you've already voted on things. It's a little too late then. But no, you didn't get voted in to work for the mayor. You got voted in to represent the people in your district. The mayor is not your boss. We are. You gotta quit just taking his word for everything, being spoon-fed, and start using your freaking brains. Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to address the commission? If not, I'm going to call your attention, please, to the announcements under item 10 regarding our January committee meetings and our January commission meetings. I have one additional announcement that I'd like to make at this time. I'm appointing the following individuals to the Special Rules Committee. Randy DeVore, Chair. Chris Cutshaw, Vice Chair. Bobby Hahn, former Commissioner Nancy Phillips, and former Trustee and Mayor David Perky. Have a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and may God bless America. The Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second? All in favor say aye.